What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Ron Pierce Sports, bringing to you the Strokes Gang Show like we do each and every week here with my two main guys. We got Snyder, we got Hoop. Hoops are coming off a big win, just riding hot into the U.S. Open, 100K. It's setting up well again tonight for an RPS person. Brett, the Bravos going off, absolutely going off. Devers just hit a bomb. I mean, looks like it's set up to be a fun night. Hoop, will bring you in first, man. How's it going, and how you feel about the U.S. Open this week?
Yeah, nice night last night in MLB. I hope it's the start of a solid week here. This U.S. Open is obviously massive prize pools around the industry. The field's absolutely phenomenal. Looking forward to the week for sure, and looking forward to picking some winners with you guys here tonight.
Were you in the sheets or not? I guess is a legitimate question for this latest win.
Yeah, it was. I mean, those games just go so damn late. I mean, it's like 1:15 East Coast before these things wrap up. The kids had basketball camp early, so I knew I had to get up, no sleeping in. So yeah, I was in the sheets for sure.
Oh man, what a life, what a dream! Yeah. Just man, in the sheets, shipping 100K. We'll all be there soon. We will be there soon. Snyder, what's going on, my man? How are you feeling about the U.S. Open this week?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this event. It's one of my favorite events. We'll see some golfers get humbled here, which is always good to see. Didn't play too much last week. I was in that golf tournament back near home. That went pretty well. We won the horse races Friday. Got into the final playoffs of the event, but couldn't get it home. So we finished like somewhere, I'm not sure, like 5th, 6th, 7th place around there. Went out early in the playoffs and didn't make the final championship hole, but it was definitely a good week.
Yeah. So if you aren't all aware, it's National Bourbon Day. So you should be drinking your favorite bourbon or wine or, whatever your drink of choice is. Let us know in chat what you're drinking tonight while we're dialing in these winners. It's U.S. Open week. There's a lot of three millionaire maker contests this week, a massive 888. All the 200 single entries that I absolutely love. And my favorite, the $5, it's 100K to first this week. That's one where if you're like new to multi-entry and want to get in that, for PGA, I highly suggest starting there. You don't even need to like max it. If you're new to the sport, maybe smaller bankroll, start with 50 lineups. Go use SaberSim. And, we have all kinds of strategies on the website. We talk through them on Discord. It's a great way to start and have a ton of fun with your lineups this week. But it's 100K up top this week. The 888 is 200K, 3 millionaire maker winners. Hopefully we see RPS at the top of all of them. I think that would be a great thing. And with that said, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will get to diving in to the event this week at the Country Club. It's in Boston. So our boy JSU was walking. We had boots on the ground in there. And so JSU was in Discord posting pictures, was talking about how hard the course looks for him. And it would look hard for all of us. I mean, who are we kidding? But Snyder, let's bring you in. Talk to us about the course this week. What are you seeing? What's going to be important, as it pertains for DFS?
We're at the Country Club here in Brooklyn. It's a par 70 measuring just over 7,200 yards. We're going to have 156 golfers tee it up this week with the top 60 in ties making it, which is going to lead to a lower 66 rate, I think so, with the lower golfers making the cut. We'll once again see very small greens here. I think they're going to be right around 4,300 square feet on average. These greens are going to be mainly POA with some bent grass mixed into them. I think they're going to be running at around 12 to 13 on the stimp meter. These greens are going to run from back to front, and they're going to have many undulations and runoff areas. It's going to make them very tough, and it's going to put an importance on around the green play as well. The majority of the rough here is going to be played at around 3 inches, but I have seen reports of 5 inches plus in certain areas. You're going to want to make sure to avoid the tall fescue as well. I mean, that's some of the tall fescue on this course is going to be like knee high in some areas. So errant tee shots are going to find that tall fescue. It's just going to be trying to gouge it back out into the fairway. But definitely want to avoid that. Golfers are going to see some scoreable holes though here, though. I think there's going to be 3 or 4 holes here where you can make birdies. But then there's going to be some holes here, like usual at U.S. Opens. I mean, there's going to be some holes here where par is a very great score. So it's going to humble some guys. I can't wait for it. You're gonna have to put a premium on finding the fairway here as well, like I talked about with that rough and such. So you're gonna want to find the fairway, but there is like one hole, I can't remember which hole it is, but if you hit the fairway on the middle to right side of the fairway, your ball's gonna trickle into the creek there. So you're gonna have to either hold back on that hole or play to the left side of the fairway there. There's gonna be some big numbers made here. You just gotta avoid those big mistakes. Got to put a premium on finding the fairway, like I said, and avoiding those big mistakes. Some of the key stats I'll be looking at here is strokes gained approach, mainly bogey avoidance with the bogey avoidance / scrambling, kind of put that all in the one there. Strokes gained off the tee, around the green play, and long iron play as well. And I'm looking into, we might have a decent weather edge. I mean, we'll watch this more as we lead up to lock Thursday and the Wednesday. We'll be in there in Discord and everything. It looks like there might be a slight advantage for the Thursday AM guys, but it's a long ways out, and we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, so I think what I picked up on is you said, there's the possibility of 5 inches. You got to be careful with your balls, and you got to find the holes, right?
Absolutely.
Is that 5 inches around Casa de Snyder? Is that what you're talking about? Or I mean, this is a family show here, Snyder.
Gotta keep it clean here.
Yeah. So I mean, this at first glance at this course, like it's not as long as your traditional U.S. Opens, but man, it does look painful elsewhere. Like reports that I saw where guys were grinding 4 or 5 foot putts, and it's going to be difficult. So you need the complete game. And it should be a true test of golf. I mean, do you think there's any chance that these guys like that we see some decent scores here, or are these guys going to get punished?
I think it's going to be like, I think it's going to be like right around 5 under par wins the event. I don't think they're going to get to what they did like in, I can't remember which one that was.
We would all be a fan of that too, right?
Yeah, definitely. I like that score. I think that'd be a great score. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Let's just dive into it. Hoop. So how we do it each week, we're going to go tier by tier, starting with the studs up top, 10K and up. These first 2 ranges are just absolutely loaded. We'll spend a little bit more time, breaking this down. Hoop, let's start with you. 10K and up. What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start at the bottom here. And, Snyder's boy staring me right at the eye at 10K. But, man, I mean, I think he's willing to admit at this point, he's in a little bit of a slump right now. He just hasn't been the same guy, and just definitely can't play him based on what I've seen recently. So Morikawa, I think, is a very easy fade. Cam Smith, man, it's just tough to play Cam Smith when you look above him. You see Rory, you see Rahm, you see JT, and you see Scheffler. So probably crossing those guys off. I think they both will be very low owned. If you're a game theory person, you have confidence in those guys, you'll get them at low ownership. So those are the 2 that I'm definitely crossing off. And then you go up, and it's hard to X out any of these names. Scheffler has been playing phenomenal. JT has been playing phenomenally well. Rahm, it was a little bit of a rough stretch, but it appears he's kind of righted the ship a little bit, and wouldn't be surprised if he contended here. And then Rory, what we saw last week, he dominated. He came close to choking it a little bit at the end, missed 2-3 foot putts down the stretch, but his game was firing on all cylinders last week. I mean, driving it like 350, 360 with ease, finding the fairway. He's kind of turned it on a little bit lately. I've been a hater of Rory's, dating back for a while, but I've played him a little bit lately, played him a lot last week. I think he was one of my highest owned guys. I kind of came full circle on Rory last week, and 10.5 is a good price tag. He's the favorite in this event. So, you look at these 4 guys up top, I think you can probably, only play maybe 3 of them. I mean, the problem with this week where things get very difficult is, as we go through these tiers and talk about it, get down to that 6K range. And, we're always able to dig up guys that we like in the 6K range. It is very, very difficult this week when you get down there. I mean, there is just not many options, not many guys you feel comfortable playing. And, we'll always, come down here and find guys, but this week it's challenging. So getting overweight on a ton of guys up top is, very difficult. But I will say, of those 4 up top, at this point in the week, my favorite is going to be Justin Thomas. I think his game is just on point right now. He was right there last week. The one blip is the Charles Schwab, but that was right after the PGA Championship. And, I was on him a lot. A lot of guys at Run Pure were on him a lot. Turned out to be a mistake. The first sign of things going downhill, he just mailed it in. Nice stretch of golf on the PGA Championship. He was fine, taking the weekend off. But I think the combination of him and honestly, the guy that I think kind of pushed him over is Bones. I mean, their connection is just phenomenal as caddy. So I think JT is probably my favorite up here, but it's really hard to argue against any of those 4.
Yeah, one interesting thing, and with the show, what I don't want to do is talk a lot about the Live Tour. Like, one of the most annoying things right now is I love listening to these interviews and I love hearing them talk about the course. We're getting none of that right now because it's all they're talking about the Live Tour. I don't know. It's fun from a competitive, whatever, bad guy, good guy perspective. But at some point in time, you got to just start talking about the event. I thought your boy Snyder, Brooks Koepka, hit the nail on the head. Like, I mean, start talking about the event. I haven't heard much about it at all. I mean, it's been crazy. But I do think we're seeing some separation right now between these dudes that are elite and the guys that are not, as elite, but have, in these easier scoring type of contests that have been able to hang around and do good. We saw it last week. I think it was very telling. I think these guys that are not jumping ship over to Live are playing with a little extra chip on their shoulder. Snyder, talk to us here about the 10K range.
Yeah, we got 6 guys up here, and like Hoop said, I think I'm going to be crossing 3 of these guys off. It's going to be some tough cuts up here. I mean, it's hard to cut any of these guys out, and they're all elite talents up here. Starting off with my guy Scotty Scheffler, I think we're going to see him under 10% owned again for another major. I mean, I'm going to be right back on Scotty. The irons have been elite. He's been good tee to green. I mean, people are going to gravitate to these bigger names, I think a little cheaper than him. So I look for Scotty to be like right around 10% again for this major, making it very easy to get overweight on him. So I'm going to be on Scotty up there at 11.3. And then it's a very, very tough cuts for me here with JT and Rahm. I haven't been on Rahm. He did have the putter back at Memorial. He finished top 10 there, but again, I think it was like right at 6 strokes putting there that week. I mean, he loves that course. It's a very fair track for him to be at. So I don't know if I can get, if anything, I could get to Rahm over Scheffler if I do see like a weather edge. I mean, that's the swap I think I would make is Scotty to Rahm. If I do think I'm going to be off JT, as I like Rory much better. We're seeing Rory back into it's almost like he's back into that old school Rory, like he's in that peak mode now. Ranks number 1 in ball striking over the last 24 rounds, top 5 in approach and bogey avoidance. Really liked how we seen him kind of rebound last week. I mean, it looked like he was ready to choke it away there at the end, and then he comes through with the birdie on 17 and 18 to lock it up while we seen JT was right there. JT fell back last week. Rory was the guy that actually made the move this time, which is good to see him finally come through in the clutch. I mean, he's been just absolutely great over his last 5 events. Looks like he's back in peak form. He's gained nearly 13 strokes total on average in those last 5 events. I think Rory's back. 10.5 is a great price tag for him. When I compare him to, I think that he's like right at equals to JT and Rahm, and we're getting a pretty good price savings on Rory. So that's just kind of where it's leaning me there. And I'm going to be off Cam Smith this week, but I'm going right back to my guy Morikawa there at 10-0.
Oh no! Surprise!
The elite iron play, and most importantly, the elite long iron play, I think is going to come in very handy here. He did really good at the U.S. Open last year. Finished 4th, gained over 8 strokes approach in that. The PGA Championship, he was in that bad weather draw. He was 5th at the Masters. I do think Morikawa is going to be, and I really like how Morikawa is going to be under 10% here. I'm looking for him to be like 6, 7, 8, 9% ownership, maybe. I think he's somewhere in that 6 to 8% range, which it makes it very easy to get overweight on him, like Scotty. So I mean, Rory's going to be the one of the more popular guys, so I'm going to have to put more weight into him. I think Rory's going to come in probably around like that 20% range, so I have to play more of him, but I can get overweight on those other two pretty easily. But if it was like a weather deal, I think it would be the Scotty Rahm would be the 1v1 I made there. I do like Rory quite a bit at 10-5, and then my guy Morikawa as well.
So let me start with Morikawa. I heard something very interesting today. One of the guys on the PGA Tour channel talking about just, the players and everything, has walked a few rounds with Morikawa recently. And I mean, this guy's missing left and right off the tee. We're talking like Jordan Spieth, when Jordan Spieth didn't know where the ball was going off the tee. Maybe not as bad as Spieth, just because Kawa is a very good iron player, but it is kind of telling. If you go back and look at what he has done this season, Snyder, missed cut at the Memorial, 40th at the Charles Schwab, 55th at the PGA Championship, 26th at the RBC Heritage. Yeah, he, fifth at the Masters, but that was back in April. I think he's battling something right now, and I'm not convinced this is the place where you find your game. I mean, it's a place where I think you get punished. And so I want guys that are in form and in good form right now, Rory, JT, and I'm just going all in on those guys. So I get it with Morikawa. We've seen him. He's a top 10 player, top 7 player in the world, in the grand scheme of things, and it's a shorter course. So like I started off the week wanting to like him. I had an initial RPS tag on Morikawa just from the standpoint, if he's playing very, very good, the course sets up well for him. But the fact that he's not a strong putter and the fact that his irons haven't been dialed in at all, I have him as a fade this week. There's even if he's going to be low and I just can't go there. Cam Smith, I think I missed Cam Smith's run. So I think he had his run and 10-2 for him when we got Rory, Rahm right above that, JT. I just can't go to Cam Smith. The dude's an absolute beast, but if he beats me, he beats me here. I'm not sold on him. So I'm loading up on and then Rahm, I was fading him, and then I saw that interview today and I'm like, oh man, I really want to play this guy. He looks to be one of those guys with a chip on his shoulder. But Rahm has struggled around the greens. He struggled with the putter. And I don't think this is a place where you find those things. These greens look very difficult. So for me, it's JT and it's Rory. JT's, I think, is actually watching him putt has been painful this year. But if you look at the last 5-6 events, I think he's starting to find something with the putter. Obviously PGA Championship winner. It would not surprise me if he backed it up with the U.S. Open trophy this year. I think he is right up there. I think I could see him and Rory battling again on Sunday. So I'm very high on those two guys. And then Scotty Scheffler is always going to be kind of that tournament play that's in the mix. 11-3, though, is a high price tag. We have so many strong plays that we're going to get to. I just have to make cuts, and playing Scotty is going to make it very difficult to get some of these other guys in, since we don't have those anchors down in the 6K range that we're going to get to. The 6K range is terrible, absolutely terrible this week. I'm considering fading the entire range. And so that makes it very difficult to play a guy like Scotty Scheffler. So for me, Rory, JT, moving on. I think
I do have to defend my guy one time here quick. You say he's hitting his irons bad, which he hasn't been hitting them good, but he's still gaining just over 3 strokes approach over his last 5 events on average. Gained over 5 strokes approach at the Charles Schwab, lost 3 strokes putting. Gained over 7 strokes approach at the Heritage, lost 3 strokes putting, lost 2.5 around the green. So I think the irons are still there. I mean, he's still gaining off the tee. I mean, it just comes down to that putter and around the green play, which is definitely scary here. But I think the 10%.
You got to do what you did at the Shorty. You handed me 11 or 12 beers or whatever. It's going to take that kind of, convincing to get me on your boy Morikawa. So get the beers going. Let's go.
We'll get them funneling.
No, what I was quoting though was what someone said.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm just quoting what he said, that like he's seeing him spray it and everything like that. But Here's the thing, Snyder. The dude's won 2 majors. It could all click for him, and that's what's going to make him a good tournament play for you. I have my strategy, and if Morikawa beats me, I'm going to be texting you on Sunday like, "Oh my gosh, there's such a good course fit. I'm an idiot." And if that's the case, that's the case, and I'm rooting you on. So, and I can live.
Yeah,
with
I'm not going to get too carried away on him. I'm not going to play him like 40%, but I think I'm going to play him like 20 to 25% and get like at least 2x a field in that $5. I do like Morikawa and Scheffler. I think it's how I'm going to get kind of different in this range, but I do like. I mean, it's super tough to play Scheffler, like you say, which is I think is going to keep people off of him as well.
Yeah. My other theory is I'm done worrying about ownership. Ownership spreads out.
Definitely.
We see it
especially in an event like this.
Right. All right, Hoop. Kick it back over to you. 9K range, another loaded range. So many good plays here. What are you doing with these guys?
Yeah, just one final comment on the upper tier range. I think all these guys come in lower than anywhere has them projected for a couple of reasons. What do people do at the majors? Balance build. Everyone's going to go to the balance build. Start builds with Xander. Start builds with, maybe Spieth or someone like that. People go balance. And then you combine the fact that there's just really no super cheap plays to go to. Makes it hard to get up here. So I think everyone up here comes in lower owned than any site will have it projected. So that was my final thought up top. In the 9K range, I think Hovland's just probably one of the easiest fades on the board. I think he's obviously going to be super low owned, but man, like his around the green game is like worse, like ever. Like he's just so bad around the green, so bad out of the bunkers. You're going to need that this week, and I think he gets punished. There's going to be, I think, some big numbers for him out there this week. Xander Schauffele has been playing phenomenally well. Xander Schauffele performs phenomenally well at U.S. Opens. I mean, that's 5 straight top 10s. Probably does it here again. And, I'm fine going back to him. I'm not worried what his ownership is. I'll be on him. Spieth at 9.5, I think, is an interesting play. I mean, you got to get creative at U.S. Opens. His run the green game is strong. He's got the magic stuff and all that. So I think Spieth is a good play. Dustin Johnson is similar to Hovland, where no one's going to play him, but just seems like an awful play. Like even if he was like 8,500, I don't think I'd play him, to be honest with you. Like he has been in terrible form. Obviously got the whole live tour thing going on with him. I think just a super easy fade. And then you get down to the bottom, and I think you got to make some decisions here. You got Zalatoris, Cantlay, Hideki, and Lowry. My favorite of those 4 will definitely be Shane Lowry, just playing some great golf. Again, this just seems like a course I would just set up so well for his game. Everything's just kind of trending for him in the right direction. So really like Lowry. Probably be off Matsuyama. And then for me, it comes down to, do I want to play Zalatoris or Cantlay? Still kind of deciding on that. I mean, the upside with Zalatoris is so nice. And it seems like these big events, he shows up. At the Masters, he is 6th. PGA Championship, 2nd. Memorial, which was a pretty big tournament. I mean, that was a nice field. Tied for 5th, and then missed the cut at Charles Schwab, missed the cut at the Byron Nelson. So like he's kind of like one of these big game hunter guys. Like he shows up when the field's strong, and this is a very strong field, obviously. So I think I do like Zalatoris more than Cantlay. Don't have a strong conviction on that. I could be convinced otherwise, to be honest, but kind of liking Zalatoris here as well in this range.
Yeah, the only other reason why like I struggle to play your boy Morikawa is because we got a skinnier and cheaper version of Morikawa in our boy Willie Z. And I mean, this dude is finishing, inside the top 5 without even gaining strokes putting. I mean, it's really incredible what he's doing. And the other thing to think about too is if these greens are really difficult, it's going to make like everyone's going to talk about the really like good putters, but it's going to make putting just hard for everyone in general, where it could in fact benefit someone like Willie Z. I mean, you really never know how it's going to play out on these greens. Snyder, what are you doing with these guys? Loaded range here in the 9K.
Yeah, I'm going to be off of Hovland too. I was actually hoping that Hovland and Will Zalatoris were going to flip-flop in pricing, and Zalatoris would have been priced there, and Hovland would have been priced where Zalatoris is, but that didn't happen. But I think Hovland's an easy fade, like Hoop said. I definitely do like Xander there. I mean, he's played absolutely so well in these U.S. Opens, like Hoop said. 7th place or better in 5 appearances. He's averaging 10 strokes gain total in every trip to the U.S. Open as well. So, I mean, he just absolutely plays. He's so good. The iron play is back really well recently as well. So definitely going to be on Xander. I do think you need to kind of figure out how you want to play Xander, though. I mean, I don't think you want to play him with like Sung J M and Sam Burns or some chalky guys together. Maybe play him like I do like the Xander Morikawa pairing. I do like Xander and some other guys to kind of get a little different, but definitely not worried about Xander's ownership there. I'm gonna be playing him for sure. I'm gonna be off of Spieth. I played him that 1 week. It didn't work out. Not going back to him. He ranked 73rd in fairways gained and 103rd in putting over the last 24 rounds. Those are pretty two good stats I'm looking at. He's only has 1 finish inside the top 35 in his last 6 U.S. Opens as well. So I'm off Spieth. I'm off DJ. I do like Zalatoris quite a bit there. Like Hoop said, he's been playing absolutely great in these big-time events, top 5 in those 3 events that he mentioned there. He's been so good tee to green this year, too. I think he's one of those guys that, like you said, he's a big game hunter. He comes out to play in these big-time events. He actually putts decent in some of these big-time events. Him and Morikawa actually putted decent at the Masters in those very tough, fast greens. Other events we've seen him putt better than normal. And like you were just saying, these tough putting conditions kind of mitigate the field. I mean, the average person is going to struggle. I mean, there's going to be a few guys that are going to putt well, but I mean, there'll be a few outliers like always. But I'm definitely on Zalatoris again this week, and I'm going to be off Cantlay. So that's the 2v2 right there, the 1v1 right there. Everybody's going to be looking at, I think, 9-3 and 9-2. Cantlay does look underpriced. I don't think he's been playing that good as of late. He does have 2 top 3s in his last 3 events, but generally hasn't played the U.S. Open well at all. He's only has 1 top 20 in 5 tries. So I think I'm going to be off Cantlay. Hopefully he gets a little steamed up there. I think they're going to come in relatively same ownership like Cantlay and Zalatoris. Hideki's interesting down here. I like the price tag and the upside Hideki has. I think he's past that injury. 9-1's a fair price tag. He's averaging nearly 5 strokes gained tee to green over his last 10 and 20 rounds. So he's playing very well tee to green. Solid in that 150 to 200 proximity range where I think most of the iron shots are going to be coming at. And he's been solid around the green too. So I think Hideki's a decent GPP target. I think he'll probably be under 10% owned. So it'll be pretty easy to get overweight on him. And then Shane Lowry is that guy that's just playing on another level this year. He's great off the tee, great with the irons. He's been gaining putting in 6 of his last 7 events too. He's top 5 in scrambling and bogey avoidance. So, I mean, there's really not too much you can say wrong about Shane Lowry. 7th in approach too and top 20 in fairways gained. So I think he could approach like 20% owned, but I think Lowry's definitely a fine option this week as well.
Yeah. No, I'm going to agree with you guys quite a bit. I mean, I think we all agree that we're not playing DJ. Hovland, not playing him either. I mean, Hovland's just overpriced. Like, I don't know. I mean, play him if you want, but I just can't get there. Jordan Spieth, I think, is really interesting. Snyder, I know you said you're off of him, but when you look at like he's first tee to green, I mean, the numbers are crazy to think about. And I like looking at shorter term stats, the last 24 rounds that he's played. He's first in tee to green. He's 5th overall in ball striking. His approach is on point. He's first around the greens. Now, if you look at the last few events that he's done, like if you look at the wider scope, his putter's been what's held him back. We talk about that each and every week. If you look at the past couple of weeks, the putter is starting to come alive. If that putter gets hot, Spieth could definitely win this week. So I'm going to have a ton of interest in Spieth. I think what's going to happen in this range, you got Xander, you got Willie Z, Cantlay, like we're all saying, ownership is going to spread among this whole group. So I see my theme this week, I want the guys that are coming in feeling good about their game. I think Jordan Spieth feels very good about his game right now, better than like a Xander. I know we all love Xander. I always think back to, I continue to like roster and get way overweight Xander in these majors. And I'm a Xander guy. I know we all are. I know Hoop is, but I keep thinking, what has he done for me in these majors? It's always like a disappointment. Maybe that changes this week. He's had a good history in the U.S. Open, but you know what? He had a good history going into the Masters. He had a good history going into the PGA Championship. So I'm really probably going to get some leverage by getting more shares of Jordan Spieth. I'm not saying I'm fading Xander because it's a very difficult thing for me to do, just because he's one of my boys. But man, I love the leverage that you could potentially get, because I feel like Spieth is going to be the guy that maybe goes a little bit overlooked due to, his history here in the U.S. Opens. Willie Z, I love, cheaper version of Morikawa, like we talked about. Hideki, very interesting, and then Shane Lowry, a phenomenal play. I think my favorite play in this range is going to be Spieth, though. Snyder, did you have just like one overall favorite play?
Yeah, I'm going to go Zalatoris is my favorite play in this range.
Yeah, I like that. Hoop, favorite play in the 9K range, then take us down in the 8K.
Shane Lowry, I think. Really like Lowry here. And if you are looking for a reason to fade Xander, don't have to look back all that far. Think about the Masters. Remember the Masters performance? That might have been one of the most pitiful performances.
Wasn't motivated at all.
Gosh, it was zero effort. That was tough to watch. So if you're looking for a reason to fade Xander, just think back to the last major, or not the last major, a couple majors ago, and you'll find it quickly. 8K range. When I look at this range, a lot of interest in the bottom of it, not a ton at the top. I do like Neiman. Neiman has been on a nice little heater here. Dating back to, you can go all the way back to the Farmers. 6th place, won the Genesis, missed at the Honda, then 22nd at the Players, 35th at the Masters, 12th at the RBC Heritage, AT&T Byron Nelson, 25th, 23rd at the PGA, then 3rd at the Memorial, just on a nice little solid heater here. His game's kind of just rounding into form, a lot of interest in him. Cameron Young was playing phenomenally well, and then just had that, 84 at the Memorial in the last round. Man, I don't know. He's going to be very low owned, you have to imagine. So low owned. But then, you think about it, what if he just puts together a decent finish at the Memorial? He's so popular here, because that would have been the 4th straight event where he's in the top 5, one round and we're done. Got to think about that one a little bit. Horschel, I'm fine being off. Koepka, there's just I can't imagine. That's another name. You can throw him in that Hovland DJ conversation. There is no way. If you want to be so contrarian this week, starting lineups with Hovland, DJ, and Koepka, and you have nothing to worry about. There's no own. That's probably 12% ownership combined there. So definitely not playing any Brooksy. And then it gets interesting here, because you're going to have, I think, some of the highest owned guys on the slate. Matthew Fitzpatrick at 8.5 is going to be so incredibly owned. Sam Burns at 8.3 is going to be very highly owned. Tony Finau at 8.2 after his nice finish last week, very highly owned. And then Max Homa at 8.1, just playing such good golf. You look at his recent finishes, he has been, one of the best golfers on tour, and he's sitting at 8.1. So you got these guys that are just so underpriced down here. But then, the conversation I start having with myself in my head is, how can all these guys get ownership? It's not possible. So one of these guys has to come in, a couple of these guys have to come in lower owned than we think. Who is it? I don't know, but man, these guys are just strong. Fitzy at 8.5, Burns at 8.3, Finau at 8.2, Homa at 8.1. They can't all be super popular. So, how does the ownership get separated? And then you got Daniel Berger in there, who I do like at 8.4. Probably he's the one that probably gets really lost in the shuffle, very lost in the shuffle. I wouldn't be surprised if Berger, comes in maybe 5 or 6% because of all these guys that he's around. And then Hatton, dude is just a disaster out there. I can't imagine clicking his name here. But very strong range at the bottom. And like I said, probably some of the highest owned guys in this field this week. Because a lot of people, like I talked about when I gave my final thoughts on that top tier, a lot of people going balance this week. And if you're going balance this week, this is where you end up in this 8K range.
Yeah, how I see it shaking out, though, I agree with you 100%. But, man, Finau, we've been talking about him. He's really rounding into form. It proved it last week. This dude is ready, and I could see him winning. Burns, same thing, underpriced. these guys should be in the 9K range. I mean, Sam Burns, multiple time winner this year. I mean, Berger rounding the form. Fitzpatrick, I'm not like who cares about the narrative like from long ago. I don't care about that. I care about his price, and I care about the course sets up good for him, and he's in good form right now. I love this guy.
One thing to add on, not to cut you off, but just one more thing to add on to these guys. They're all like 40-1, 35, 40-1 to win this event. Like, that's very good when you match up their DK prices. So, I mean, it's tough to fade any of those guys, man.
I say, all right. So Hoop, before I kick it to you, Snyder, I still think there is a large group of the community out there that play 85 golfers every week. They're going to play 100.
Well,
they're going to play 100 golfers at the U.S. Open this week.
Yeah. These guys can't all be
I mean, it's insane. And so
that just goes to the point that I know you listen to everyone's going to say, oh, these guys are chalk. Like, they're going to be popular. But again, I think it's less popular than you think, because there's so many guys right here. They can't all be 30% owned. It's just not possible.
This is one of those weeks where, like, my player pool is going to look like 35 players max. All of these guys that you just talked about are going to be in my pool. I'm making a ton of cuts, though, and I'm making some stands. We'll make some stands. You know, there's going to be opportunities for that. But I want to mix and match these guys that are underpriced, playing well, course fits good, as many different ways as I can. I don't care if they're chalk. I'm going to eat it this week. So, Snyder, we'll kick it over to you. This range, it's going to get dusty here soon, but I think this is one of the last very, very, very elite ranges that we have to talk through this week.
Yeah, I think Neiman's one of the more relatively safer options in this range to make the cut. I really don't like his price tag up at 8.9, though. I was kind of hoping it would be a little lower. I think he's a guy that makes the cut and probably finishes in like the mid 30s, which I don't know if that's enough for his price tag, but I definitely think he's a solid option in this range. Cam Young,
maybe he's the one that gets lost in the shuffle, because you look like people are going to look at Neiman and say, "Oh, I can go $500 cheaper and hit up like Fitzy or Burns, or I can just go up and get like Lowry or Matsuyama or Zalatoris." Maybe it's Neiman that gets lost.
Yeah, I can definitely see that as well. It's a good point there. And then getting to Cam Young right there. I mean, it's his first event back from shooting that 84 on the final round. He went from probably finishing top 5 again for the 4th straight event, and all the way down to 60th. So it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. He's just been a beast off the tee, though. He gained over 7 strokes at the PGA Championship, gained over 10 strokes tee to green in his 3 events prior to the Memorial. So I think, if he can shake that off, he's got what it takes off the tee here. He can outplay this course off the tee and get himself into some pretty good situations, kind of like, I don't want to say it kind of like Bryson did in that one year, but I think he's a guy that can kind of overpower this course a little bit if he hits the spots off the tee. If he's going to come in lower owned, like in that 10% range, I'm going to have some Cam Young. We are going to have a difference here with Mr. BK. He finally got rid of that shitty Srixon driver. That was kind of a.
Snyder, you're trying to go broke.
Do I need to send you the Luda videos? Where Jenna's like shaking it.
I'll get there. Yeah, I'll get there.
He is not focused. He is not focused on
he
golf.
probably hasn't played golf in 3 months, Snyder.
He was just at the medalist the last 2 weeks. He said he got home from that deal. They went to the medalist with his guy for 4 to 5 days. But the main thing I like was he was playing that Srixon driver and that Srixon ball and all that. That was just like kind of watching Justin Rose go to that Homa stuff. That destroyed his game for however long. Brooks, he finally is like, I can't play this crap anymore. He put this old TaylorMade M5 driver in the bag. He's back to the Pro V1 balls. So I think he's finally got all that stress off his mind, too, leading up to the wedding and everything. I think he's going to go out there and play free. He loves the U.S. Open. He says 70% of the field is dead on arrival.
Yeah, he's part of the 75 now.
That's possible. But, we can play 10. We can play like 10 to 12% BK and be over 2 times the field. So definitely going to have some BK in my lineups this week.
Dead. Man.
He might have 1 foot into the Live Tour too. We don't know the speculations out there
for sure.
Yeah, that's possible. But I'm gonna have some of him though. I don't think anyone's gonna play him. I think he'll be like 5% owned or less. So I'm gonna have some of him. I'm not going to play Billy Horschel. I can't pay that price tag for him. Fitzpatrick, interesting here. He's probably going to be the one of the highest owned guys on the slate. Perfect fit for him though. I like this track. It's about 400 yards shorter than Torrey, which I think is going to gear a little bit more towards him. I mean, he's the guy that you want to roster when par is a good score. He can battle it out and grind it out. So I like Fitzpatrick. Berger's interesting tournament play there as well. He should be under 10%. I think he kind of gets squeezed out in this range as well. Comes off that 5th place finish at the Memorial where he finally gained strokes putting. First time in 4 events for him gaining with the flat stick. Gained over 5 strokes with the irons. It looks like he's kind of back into form. So I'm going to have some Berger, I think, in tournaments. Sam Burns is going to be a pretty easy fade for me. I think he's going to be steamed up around 20% owned. I don't like playing him in majors. I mean, if he putts, if he has that putter going like he has in those few events, like first at the Charles Schwab, first at the Valspar, 4th at the RBC, 26th at the Players, 9th at the API, he gained like all over 5 strokes putting in those events. If he does that, he's going to be there. But I'm just going to bank on him not being able to gain 5 strokes on these tougher greens. And if he's going to be like right at 20% owned, I think that's an easy fade for me. I do love Burnsy. I've been on him a lot this year, but I think getting off of him at this major, he missed the cut at the Masters and then didn't play well at the Byron Nelson. He lost strokes putting there as well. So I think I'm going to be off Burnsy here with that high ownership, but I do like Mr. Finau right under him, $100 cheaper, 8-2, Mr. Finau. I was back on him last week, and it looks like top 5 Tony is back. That's 3 straight events where he's gained strokes across the board. Looks like the game's back in contention here. I think he's underpriced for this event. He plays well in these big-time events, so I definitely do like Finau this week. And then I'm going to be off Homa and Hatton as well. Homa's going to be over 15% owned. I think that's another guy I can just cross off. If he beats me, he beats me. But I think Burns and Homa are going to be 2 of my bigger fades in this range.
Snyder, all of these guys are going to be between 15 and 20, but they're not going to like get to outrageous numbers, which is why I just don't care about ownership. I'm not worrying about it. I want the guys who are in form, coming in form, who can win, have upside. For me, that's Max Homa. That's Tony Finau. That's Sammy Burns. Daniel Berger makes the list. But Matt Fitzpatrick's the other guy. Yeah, all chalk plays, all popular plays. I don't care. I'm going to be over on those guys. I'm going to be off Billy Horschel. I'm going to be off Cam Young. Cam Young's going to fall in that group too. There's something like this dude's a stud, but for me, does he justify having an 8.8 price tag over Tony Finau, over Matt Fitzpatrick, over Sam Burns, multiple-time winner, Max Homa, winner? He doesn't have a win yet. So, and there's something about having that 84 or whatever he shot creeping in your head at a tough course. There's something about that where it's like, that can't be a good feeling at all. I don't care who you are. If that creeps back, if he makes a double or something like that, that's going to be lingering in the back of his head. So I'm going to be off those guys. I'm probably going to be off Neiman too, because I just have to make some cuts. And I think Neiman falls into that group that gets 15 to 20. It's going to be 15 to 20. Cam Young, I think he's going to be over 10%. I think all of them are going to get ownership. Give me the guys that are playing the best right now, the ones I listed, and that's how I'm going. I'm keeping it simple. Definitely not playing Hatton though. There's zero chance. Why isn't he joining the Live Tour? Like that would be perfect for him. Let him go tilt those courses over there. Shotgun start. 3 days of golf for him. It would be perfect for Tyrell Hatton. So
and what a pussy he is too. He's like mic'd up on that par 5, and like his second shot, he shanked it into the trees. He goes, "I hate this hole. I hate like what a bitch. Like get out there and play golf. Like no one wants to hear that crap, you pussy.
Swing harder."
Yeah.
Oh
what
man,
a little bitch.
On that note, if you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. We got a ton of premium content coming out the rest of the week. We got Big T and the boys on the premium show tomorrow. Make sure to tune in for that with Tambo. Big T, I believe Uncle T is going to be on that too. I know they have a golf trip coming up here soon, but I believe they'll be on that show tomorrow. And hit the like button. And if you play underdog, so I gotta shout out Snyder and Simon behind the sticks. They have been crushing under best ball content. So go sign up with Underdog. Use the code RUNPEER. Watch the videos that we have. There's a recent one posted. What was it, last night, Snyder?
Yeah, we had a show last night with a special guest, and then we still have the best ball for a PGA. The second event of those, they ran those major contests. For the first one for the Masters, I did like 7 or 8 drafts. I had 5 of my teams advanced to this week, so hopefully my guys can run good here. We had Josh Larkey, I think, on last night for the NFL show. I mean, it was a really good show. Great advice. We went into advanced rates last night, talked about different ways to incorporate that into your selection process going forward, stacks and all that, and then did a best ball draft there to end the show. So, I mean, it was a really good show. Go check it out. It's on the Run Pure Sports YouTube page. But, yeah, it's a fun time. We'll have more of those coming forward as well.
Awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff all around. Hoop, let's keep this going. Let's tackle. I mean, the 6K range is going to take us like 2 minutes. I mean, I think I'm speculating, but I think we're all going to be in alignment there. But talk to us about the 7K range. What are we doing down here?
Yes, I think this is the spot where you can maybe, take some shots, differentiate yourself a little bit. It's hard, like I said, in that 6K range. A lot of these plays up top that we talked about, it's very, very hard to avoid some of these plays. You come down here, I think this is where you can kind of separate yourself maybe a little bit. It's going to be a hard week to get like super unique. It really is, unless you're playing Brooks and Morikawa like Snyder. Snyder will have no problem getting unique, but guys like me and AP, we might have trouble. But it starts at the top with Corey Connors, 7'9". I mean, to me, Connors could definitely be up there with those 8K guys. I mean, he's been, again, one of the better guys on tour over the course of the last month or so. So strong play at 7'9". Mito, what happened to him at the PGA Championship? A lot of guys would just, kind of keel over, roll up into a ball and go into a rough stretch of golf. Like, he bounced right back in 7th at the Charles Schwab, 13th at the Memorial. You got to give this guy some credit. I mean, honestly, like, that's phenomenal. I mean, golf is a mental game. What happened to him at the PGA Championship is one of the toughest beats mentally that you could possibly have. And he's bounced back. I love this guy. Like, I'm a huge fan of his moving forward, just for the fact that the 2 events after basically choking it away, he bounced back and played phenomenal golf. Very interested in him. Aaron Wise, I could get off Wise. Like, it looks like he's actually going to get a good chunk of ownership. Like, I'm fine just being off him if he's going to be owned. Fleetwood's a guy I haven't played a ton of, but he's been playing pretty good. I mean, you look at it, a lot of top 20 finishes, 22nd at the Players, 14th at the Masters, 5th at the PGA Championship. I'm playing solid golf. I mean, maybe he's coming back to us a little bit. I mean, he was one of my favorite guys 2-3 years ago to roster in PGA DFS. I love rostering Fleetwood, but haven't played him in a while. I could get back on him. Louis Oosthuizen, I think he's a guy that people start to get on here a little bit because of his success at U.S. Opens and whatnot. I hope he gets steamed up because he's just such an easy fade. The big name here is going to be Sungjae and what you do with him. I mean, he's clearly underpriced. He's 7,600, 40-1 to win this event. 40-1 to win this event, and he's in the mid 7s. He is going to be. He probably will be the most popular guy on the slate. So, it's a decision. I haven't decided what I'm doing with Sungjae, but it's a good price tag. His odds are phenomenal, obviously, at that 40-1 price, and the tag is super cheap. I mean, well under the average roster spot. I don't know what I'm doing with Sungjae, to be honest. Taylor Gooch, I do like at 7.5. Again, a fair price tag for him, a guy that I think can contend. 3 out of his last 4 performances, top 27, 20th at the PGA Championship, 14th at the Masters. How does this whole live thing affect these guys? I don't know. We'll see. But at 7.5, I'll take some chances on him.
Didn't he make like 7? He made 7 or 800K last week.
Yeah. He's
good
for a while.
He came home with a nice little bag.
Yeah, he's probably happy.
The guy that shot 30 over last week made like 150K.
It's just ridiculous.
That's why, I mean, the whole thing, like, you can't, and not to go down this path or anything, but you can't blame any of these guys. Like,
no, you can't blame it at all. Like, it's crazy.
Like, we do content for Run Pure Sports. And, so what if someone comes up to us and says, hey, we'll now pay you, let's say you're making $100 to write an article at Run Pier. We'll pay you $500 to write an article at Run Pier.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Or to go somewhere else? You're going to go somewhere else if someone offers you the 500. Like there's no way around it. Davis Riley, another one of those guys that's just playing great golf in 7-3. I mean, 5th, 9th, 13th, 4th, 13th, 7-3. Tough to avoid him. I kind of like Sergio a little bit here at 7-3, to be honest, as well, right below or same price as Riley. Very interested in him. Mark Leishman has my eye for some reason. I don't know why, but he kind of stands out as a guy I'm interested in. And then Brian Harmon down here at 7K, kind of like him. Adam Hadwin, another guy, I think he got into the field late, but 7K flat for him. Fine with. I'm going to take, so usually we come on here and talk about some guys in the 6K range that we're going to take some shots on. This week, it's 7K guys that you take some shots on. I'm going to add some more to my pool as well, but, the guys I mentioned are a few that kind of stand out down here.
Yeah, I agree quite a bit. My general thought is I'm leaning towards fading the live guys, and just I don't know, it's a lot of, they're getting hammered with all this stuff, and I just feel like the guys that didn't go are going to play with a chip on their shoulder. And you could make the case for the other way around, but the difference is Gooch is coming back after that big payday. He's probably looking forward to the next live event. Hey, I get another 7K. I mean, man, I don't know. That's what I would be thinking.
I have a feeling the next live event's going to have way more golfers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, Snyder, 7K range, a decent amount of guys down here that we can consider. What are you doing with this range?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of tilting going on in this range. I mean, all these guys aren't going to make the cut. Sure. There's going to be a lot of turnover in this range.
This is the most important, honestly, just to piggyback on that point you made. To me, this is the most important range. What you do down here is super important because the plays in the 8Ks and the 9s, the 10s, whatever. This is where I think tournaments are won and lost. Yeah,
I agree. We got Connors and Mito up there. Throw Wise in that bucket too. Wise has been playing great leading up to this. Connors, I think the around the green game might scare me off Connors a little. He ranks 99th around the green. The putter is always a scary point with him too. I think I might play Mito over him for $100 more. I really liked what you said about him, how he bounced back. I definitely like Mito there. I don't think I'm going to get to Fleetwood. He's kind of been getting talked up a little bit in a little bit of content I've consumed so far this week. The last 3 years for him at the U.S. Open has went 50th, miscut 65th. So I think I'll probably be off of Fleetwood. Sung J M, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him either. That's the type of play I want to fade. I just don't know if I can. Maybe I just play him in cash and then I fade him in GBPs or something. But Keegan's missed 4 of his last 5 U.S. cuts, so I think I'll be off of him. I think he might be in that 15% ownership range, but I think I'm going to fade him. But you don't think so? I thought he would be in that 12 to 15% range.
People are kind of on him this week.
I love him. I love him this week. But
I think he's kind of cooled off the past 2 events. So he was on that hot streak, and the last 2 events he's kind of cooled off a little bit. So that's something to take note of, maybe. But I can be talked into him. I do like Sebastian Munoz. I think he's going to be pretty low owned. He's made 10 straight cuts. I think he'll probably be somewhere under 10%, maybe 5 to 10% ownership range. He's gained strokes across the board this last week at the Canadian Open. I think it's a good price tag for him for his low ownership. Ranks 9th in bogey avoidance and 22nd in scrambling the last 24 rounds. So I like Sebastian some there. Russell Henley's bettered his finish at the U.S. Open the last 3 years. He's went 27th, 25th, and 13th in his last 3 U.S. Opens. Good consistent cut maker with a fair price tag. I'm going to have some Henley. Davis Riley, I think he's solid. He's just been playing absolutely well. 13th at Memorial, 4th at the Schwab, 13th at the PGA, 9th at Byron Nelson, 5th at Mexico Open in those 5 events. He's gaining right around just over 6 strokes gained tee to green in those 5 events. I'm going to probably be right back onto him. And our guy, Patrick Reed, is back. I like the price tag for him. He's going to be 5% owned. His last U.S. Open finishes 19th, 13th, 32nd, 4th, 13th in his last 5 U.S. Opens. I think Patrick Reed is back. I don't think he's going to care about any of that background noise. I mean, he loves to play the villain. I think this is a good spot for him, good price tag. So I'm going to have some Patrick Reed back in the pool. I like Justin Rose. I mean, that was a crazy final round for him there. Shot 60 while making 3 bogeys. He was 13th at the PGA as well. He finished 4th last week. The irons were solid last week. I think I'm going to have him in the player pool for the first time in quite a while. So I'm going to have some Justin Rose there. I think Adam Hadwin's fine. He's made his last 2 U.S. Open cuts. He's playing some solid golf this year outside of one event, and then he was in the bad wave at the PGA, but I think Hadwin's a solid option down there. Brian Harmon, I think he's solid down there. The dude just hit fairways. He can scramble with the best of them, ranking top 10 in both of those stats over the last 24 rounds, off of top 20 at the Memorial. And he's made the cut at the last 4 U.S. Opens, with 2 of those being inside the top 20. So I like some Brian Harmon at the bottom of this range.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few guys there. Let me start with Rose. I was shockingly impressed with how he played. Had a flyer lie there in the rough on 18, was on 59 watch for a little bit there. And then obviously, got to him, but man, he looked impressive. He really did. He was good at the PGA Championship too. I'm going to be on him this week. I think he's a good play down here at 7,100. The course I think sets up for him. If he finds these fairways, I think there's a good chance that he definitely pays off his price tag. Starting back up at the top of this range, though, I agree with you guys on Connors and Mito. 2 good guys, definitely going to be in my player pool. Not playing Bryson. I'm fading the live guys. I'm fading Aaron Wise. Fleetwood, kind of torn. Fading Louis. Probably fading Answer. Fading Seamus Power. Fading Gooch. I just think Gooch is probably, I don't know. I'm in the camp that it's he got some easy money last week. I think he's probably licking his chops, for the next event too. And I think he's gonna tear those events up and make a ton of money. Good for him, Munoz, I'm gonna be off. Hoagie, I'm gonna be off. The plays that I think are interesting. So Sung Jae, obviously underpriced, good form, good ball striker. The course sets up well for him. We all know those things. Keegan Bradley, another guy that you guys mentioned, talked up a little bit. Boston guy. I like where his game's at. He's going to make my player pool. I'm really between him and actually Webb Simpson. They're Webb has played really well in U.S. Opens. It's a course that I think sets up very well for him. Shorter course. It's not your really long U.S. Open track. It's one where you have to think through it. You got to be methodical. That's exactly what Webb needs. So Webb is going to be the guy, I think, in this range that goes under 10% owned, because I think all of these guys just get in that 10 to 15 range that we keep talking about. We see it each and every week. And Webb's going to be one of those guys that I think falls in that maybe 5 to 7, 5 to 8%. And I like where his game is trending. So I'm going to have him. I think he's going to be a very good tournament play this week. Him and Rose down there. HV3, I just think this guy's kind of turned a corner. I think he's a gamer. Do I get worried about Sunday? Yes, I do. We could victory lap all the way up through 3 days. He could be sitting very good, but this dude has the ability to blow up at any point in time.
That's a good call on him, though. I mean, at 7-3, you can absorb some hits on Sunday. He doesn't need to win doesn't need to win the thing. So yeah, that's a good call on HV3. I do like him as well.
His game is insanely good right now. And the one thing that I see is he's making birdies. So if he bogeys, what he said is he's going to just fire at pins no matter what. And he's going to try to make birdies to make up for any bogeys that come along. I kind of like that, aggressiveness. So tougher to do around a track like this, but at least if he makes the bogeys, he's going to at least try to make that bounce back birdie. Patrick Reed, it just seems like such a troll spot where he comes out and plays well. So I'm probably going to be with you on him. Then my other kind of off the wall play is Sepp Straka. I'm going to go back to him. Former workbench play. He showed PGA Championship wasn't good. AT&T Byron Nelson, not good. Memorial, T45, not great, but one thing that he is like when he's dialed in is hitting fairways. Big driver and good at hitting fairways. If he can get dialed in there, and then he's a good putter as well. If he can do those things, I think he could be a guy that surprises. I'm talking like, I think he's going to be like 1% to 2%. I'm talking like, 7 to 8%, like no more than that. He's just going to be in my player pool kind of as an anchor. And then I'm going to make a ton of cuts down here. I'm not going to play Tringali, Leishman, Scott, not going to play Kokrak. Not going to play like Lanto, Griffin, Troy, Merritt, Shank, probably not even going to play Woodland, EVR. I mean, there's going to be so many cuts that I make from here down in the 6K range too. And what that's going to do is I'm going to have my player pool of 35 guys. It's going to include a lot of popular guys, but I don't really care because I've condensed my player pool down and I'm going to be able to easily get overweight on that group. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this, dialing things up with this 7K range. Hoop, let's just hammer this out. 6K range. I mean, I don't like, it's a tough one for me. There's only a few guys I'm looking at, but what are you doing with the 6K range?
Yeah, I mean, at this sort of event, I mean, the cream rises to the crop over the course of the last, over the course of 4 rounds, the best guys are going to be at the top here. So, man, it's tough when you come down here. Man, it's like Neesmith, maybe. Molinari is a guy that I think some people could potentially play. 3 straight made cuts, 26 at the Memorial. I mean, maybe him. Mackenzie Hughes is a guy I think that could grind out a made cut here. Could he get a good finish? I don't think so. Probably like 40th, probably at best with Mackenzie Hughes. Fine, maybe with him. I mean, I'm not even going to play like my guy Nick Taylor here. Ryan Fox is a guy of interest in at 6'7". Made the cut at the PGA Championship. Has played phenomenally well on the what's it called? Not the
DP.
The DP tour. Slight interest in him. Not going back to our boy Goddard. That was a disaster last week. I thought he was going to grind back for us, and then just like completely fell apart. Yeah, I mean, long story short, there's like not much down here for me. I mean, I'm gonna dig, and I'll find probably a few more guys that I'll play, but man, it's like finishing in that 7K range is probably the way to go. But that's what everyone's doing. No one's coming down here. Like no one's coming down to the 6K range. So if you can really dig and find a couple solid guys, your lineups are going to be different immediately. They're going to be different immediately. If you can find a couple guys here, if you can get 2 guys that make the cut and finish top 30, you're going to have access to different lineup construction than everyone else. So, I mean, those are a few guys I'm interested in, but this is going to be my lowest exposure to the 6K range in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I agree. Snyder, 6K range. What are you doing down here?
Yeah, it's pretty dusty down here, but I think I'm going to go to a few of these guys. Herbert's down here, 5 or 6 cuts made, finished 31st here last year. I think he's interesting. Guido, he finished 4th at the U.S. Open last year. He finished 10th at the Dutch Open like a month ago. Maybe a GPP dart play there with Guido. I do like Fox quite a bit. Great recent form. Made the cut the PGA, like Hoop said, and he's had 4 straight top 10s overseas on that DP tour. So I like Fox. Novak's made 3 or 4 cuts made. I think he's solid there. I'm going to have some of him. I'm going to have some Goddard up back in the pool this week. I mean, he gained strokes approach last week. Missed the cut. What was he, like 1 or 2 off? Kind of got into a rough start there. I think he missed I think it was like 5 putts inside 7 feet on his first 13 holes, which maybe he's feeling a little nervous. Maybe he can get over that and bounce back this week. I might have maybe less than 5% of him or something. Bo Hostler down there. I think he's an interesting GPP upside target. And then there's really not much down here. Trying to find anything I can find down here. I could chase Seifert's min price, possibly if he can make the cut. I do like Matthew Neesmith some. Brian Stewart's down there. He can hit fairways. He's good around the green. Maybe Stewart can make the cut. Joel Dahlman's good at hitting fairways. Maybe he can get something going. Yeah, but not much really down here for me. Maybe Denny McCarthy at 6,700. I mean, he's going to hit fairways. I mean, he's pretty solid bogey avoidance guy. He can scramble well too. So I think maybe Denny fits this bill pretty well. It's going to be a little shorter on some of these holes, so I could see myself getting to like a Denny. Scott Stallings, 6,800. That's all right. Wyndham Clark, I probably won't get to him though. I probably won't get to Nick Taylor either. Kisner's actually made some cuts at the U.S. Open, but he's in absolutely terrible form, so I don't think I can get to them. But yeah, Neesmith at 6,900, that's solid. Not too much serious conviction for me in anyone in this range though.
Yeah, it's really telling when you look at the Vegas odds when you go down to this range, 400 to 1, 500, 800, 1,000, like. And we got guys in the 7K, 8K range that are mispriced, and Sungjae 40 to 1. So it's like, you like, well, what are we doing? Playing a guy that's 600 cheaper than a guy that's 40 to 1. Like, I just think the move here is to eliminate more of these guys, if not all of them, and get overweight on the guys that we know are, the best plays. And that, I think, is the move this week. Francesco Molinari, one name I'm looking at. I don't like it, though, is the thing. Like, there's very little I like it, except for he has an okay record in majors. But, like, I don't want that to be the only reason that I come down here and play him. And Wyndham Clark, he looked good last week. He was playing good. The putter looks good. He's good around the greens. And the one thing why I'd be interested in him is we've seen driving distance be a major factor in the U.S. Opens. Everyone's talking about how this course is different. There are a few holes where I think one reason why I really like Rory is if you have a big driver, there's a few holes there where, man, if you want and you can bomb it out there 340 plus, 350 plus, you're going to have a different hole than 95% of the field. Wyndham Clark is one of those guys. He's an absolute beast off the tee. So he is one guy I've interested in down here. If there were a notebook play, it would be him. But honestly, I feel far more comfortable going with Webb Simpson up, 700 more, and it's 70 whatever 100 he is. So I'm going to go Webb, but I think Wyndham Clark is definitely going to be a guy that makes my player pool this week. Outside of that, maybe a Lucas Herbert, maybe I don't know. I would much rather chop all of these guys out, settle on my player pool and be fine with it. So yeah, very good, guys. Let's move on to our winners and then final thoughts and get out of here. Snyder, let's start with you. Who do you got winning this week?
I'm gonna do this more basically off of a number standpoint. I think Morikawa at 30 to 1 is a good number to bet on to win. 30 to 1 is pretty higher than we've seen him enlisted in some majors. I think that's a good number, but I like Scheffler too. Scheffler at 14 to 1 on DraftKings. He's the fourth best odds. I think Scheffler at 14, I think that's a good value on him. For a long shot, I'm going to go down to give me Patrick Reed at 100 to 1. I think he's got pretty good U.S. Open form. 100 to 1 odds is pretty good value, I think, on him.
Wait, was that Morikawa or Scheffler?
Morikawa at 30 to 1, but I do like Scheffler's value there, being the fourth guy there, 14 to 1.
We're not betting 14 to 1, Snyder. Hoop, give us your winner and then a long shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow Snyder and go kind of off the odds, and something that stands out to me on DraftKings is Jordan Spieth 28 to 1. Like I like that number. I think that's a solid number.
You stole my guy.
That's a good number. Though. I mean, honestly,
that is a really good number.
28 to 1, like that's like
famous Sam Burns. Yep.
Yeah, that stands out to me as like a nice value in terms of the betting market. So give me Spieth.
I might, Can you get some in on me for me?
Yeah, just shoot me a message. I get for sure. And then my long shot is going to be on FanDuel, and I actually already bet this. Sergio Garcia is 220 to 1. So 220 to 1 on FanDuel. Now, do I think Sergio wins? I mean,
to make the cut, or 221 to make the cut, or what are we talking about?
No, but yeah, 221 Sergio. Give me him as my long shot. I think he has a chance to contend here.
All right, I'm going to move off of the guy I was on. I'm going to go Tony Finau 35 to 1. I just, he's going to break through. He's going to be a major winner. I mean, he's had so many opportunities. I'm going to go with him. And then let's go with, Harold Varner, 65-1. It's crazy. Like, I feel like we should be able to get, maybe we got to check FanDuel. I feel like we should be able to get like 80-1, but it's just really telling how much respect he's getting from the books.
65-1.
65-1. That's what I'm talking.
Wow.
Like, how can we go to the 6K range when there's Harold Varner, 65-1, like same as
Henley,
Justin
60,
Rose. Justin
Henley?
Rose, 65-1.
Yeah, they have Henley
Henley
65-1. Jeez.
Yeah,
I like
so
Henley.
it's pretty clear cut. Like, so I'll start with my final thoughts. Like, I think it's like pretty clear cut. Like, I'm eating a lot of chalk this week, but I'm really going to focus on condensing my player pool, and I'm just going to get overweight on these plays. I mean, it seems pretty easy. Snyder, what are your final thoughts for this week?
Yeah, looking forward to this event. It's one of my favorite just because with the toughness it brings, it's going to humble some of these guys. Like I've said, I like watching some of these guys struggle at times, and I like how it's going to be a close. I think it's going to be a close battle all the way through. I'm looking for someone to win this right around 5 under. We're going to have the showdown shows coming too, the showdown playbook, the showdown core plays, all that coming forward too as well. The showdown core plays and playbook will be on the RPS site, and then we'll have rounds 1 and 2 on the Mayo Media Network.
Yeah, very good. Hoop, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun. We get a major week. I mean, huge prize pools across the industry. Well, like you said, all our content will start dropping most likely tomorrow morning, all throughout the day. We'll have the premium show at 3. I think I'm going to hop on with the guys and give my takes over there with Big T, Uncle T, and Tambo. So tune into that. You have to be a member though, so you can head on over and sign up. We have that promo going, RPS Heater 25. If you want to try it out, 25% off your first payment. But it's major week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to watching the event here and sweating it out all week long.
Yeah, very good. Lots of contests too. Everyone's in the Discord all the way up until lock. Make sure you're tomorrow paying attention. There could be weather edges. Playbook's going to be up. Cash chart's going to be up tomorrow. Core plays will be up. The show is going to be up, and then Big T has his player pool in a sheet. So if you don't have access to that and you're in our Discord, you got to be in our Discord. Shoot a message in there and we can get you access to that as well. I think it's going to be a really fun week. I think it's one where we just get very concentrated on the guys that we're on. And I think that's the path this week. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're catching up with all the premium content and everything like that. And then let's run Pier, and hopefully, we get a million, maybe 2 millionaire makers, maybe 3. I don't know. I mean, Hoop.
Wade's trending.
Let's sweep them.
Maybe
Let's sweep the board.
You've had some sweats. What was that, the last one? PGA Championship.
I'm due.
You got to redeem yourself, man.
It was close. I know.
Yeah,
I'm getting revenge this week. All right, I'm getting revenge.
The odds have to be pretty high. So with that said, I'm AP. That's Snyder. That's Hoop. Simon, get us out of here.